so many people just do not do it. Take your experience in doing other things, make a video game, and then show off what you can do. So as I've said, the best thing to have is a completed game, something that I can download and I can play. That's really the very best thing for portfolios. Show me something that I can play with, I can interact with. Yeah, as I've covered this, embed video playthroughs, images, GIFs, be really clear and concise with descriptions once again. So I need to know on every single project, programming languages, engines, tools, how long it took you. All of this stuff is really key detail to understand. When it comes to code samples, as I said, it can depend on the studio. Sometimes it's important, for other studios it's not. And that really will depend, because some studios will do a coding task right from the beginning, right? They'll go, you apply for a job, you get sent a coding challenge, go and do this, right? And therefore, probably looking at your code samples is not going to be the first thing they look at, because they're like, well, we're going to get you to do a coding test anyway. For other studios, they don't do a coding test. So maybe they will be taking more detail and looking more into your code. It will depend. If you want to increase your chances of getting a job, you can include them, but I would suggest hosting them elsewhere and providing a link. So host them on GitHub, right? And have a link to that code on your portfolio. So the best way to present it would be, here's the game that I made, here's some screenshots of it, here's a different tool, here's the language and engine, and here's what I did, and then here's a hyperlink to go and look at the code if you want to go and look at the code. That's the best way to present a programming portfolio. They should always, complement the visual aspects of your portfolio. However, there are obviously lots and lots of other jobs in game development, right? Lots and lots of jobs. Production, QA, UI, UX, writing, VFX, audio, narrative, marketing, community. There's a load there that I haven't included on the list, right? The job list is endless. And really, I haven't got time to go through portfolios specifically for every single one of those. But really, what I would suggest to you is that all of those roles are career paths in their own right. If you approach one of those jobs as a stepping stone into doing something else, that's probably not going to be looked on too fondly, right? And that maybe used to be a thing that used to happen in the industry, certainly with jobs like QA, right? People would see it as a stepping stone into going to do programming or doing art. And actually, QA is a career in its own right. It is a really big, important part of game development, and it's something that you should see as a career opportunity to be able to progress through. So don't approach by saying, yeah, I want to apply for this, but actually I really want to do this. You'll also find that not all of these roles exist in every studio, and also not all of these roles exist at a junior level. So it will vary on the studio. Right? Not every studio will have UI UX, for example, a dedicated UI UX person. That might be picked up by other people in the team, by game designers or artists or whatever it may be. Depends on the size of studio. When you're a massive studio of hundreds or thousands of people, they will have people in those specialisms. But for smaller studios, those roles will be shared out a little bit. So if you do want to go for one of these roles, don't expect that they exist in every single studio. You might have to do a little bit of digging and research. But really, when you're thinking about portfolios for these, the key is always going to be to show examples of what that actually is. Right? If you want to make UI UX for a video game, build a portfolio of UI and UX examples for a video game. Right? Show me menu systems, show me HUDs, show me whatever. If you want to create audio for a video game, create some audio for a video game and put it in a portfolio. Show examples of what you want to do. And if you don't have it, if you haven't been taught that at uni, at college, at wherever, if you haven't had the opportunity to, just go and try it out, right? We live in the age nowadays where you can go and find a ton of information out. YouTube exists, right? As does loads and loads of other platforms to go and find knowledge. If you really are interested in doing something, you can go and find information on it. There's really no excuses nowadays to not go and research it and find something. So what about XR Games? So for us at XR Games, okay, one of the real misconceptions people have about applying for a VR game studio is that, well, I've never used VR, I haven't done anything in VR, and I'm here to tell you that you don't need to. For any of our roles, junior, senior, director, whatever, you never need VR experience. We never look for that. What we look for is game development experience. If you can make good video games, we can adapt that to make it work in VR. One of the other misconceptions is that people think, oh, I don't want to work in VR because I'll have to wear a headset all day and I'll get really sick and that kind of thing. That's not how it works. People aren't sitting there plugged in all day, every day for 8 hours a day. It's not how it works. You don't have to do that. And actually, the headsets themselves have come along an awful long way. Another misconception is people go, oh, yeah, I tried one 5 years ago and I felt really sick. Things have come on a hell of a long way since then. That kind of thing is, not so prevalent as maybe it used to be. But really what works for us, our employee values are super important to us. And you'll see them on our job ads. We clearly list them. These are employee values like creativity, communication, authentic, these kinds of things. And these aren't just buzzwords. There's been a huge amount of work for us to identify what are the different things that make a good XR Games employee? What are the different personality traits? What are the different behaviors? Regardless of skill, what are the things? And we are going to be judging you on these through every single interview, through every single call. We're going to be looking for evidence and examples. It doesn't always have to be in a game development setting. It could be, one of them's teamwork, for example. So it could be teamwork in a different job in a coffee shop, or it could be in sport, or all sorts of different stuff. But take note of these because they are going to be important to us, and you are going to be judged on them. While you don't have to have any experience of doing VR, we expect you to have at least researched VR game development, at least show some understandings of some of the limitations, some of the challenges, some of the things that we have to overcome. And we also expect you to do some research on us and look at the games that we've made, try and understand what our art style is, what our design philosophy is. You don't have to download and play them. You don't have to pay for them all. Once again, YouTube exists. You can go and have a look at them. And yeah, let's say, have an interest in VR, at the very least. Even if you haven't had the chance to play it, that's fine. But YouTube exists. Go and have a look. At least show that you've got some kind of interest in it. That'll go a long way. So what can you expect from the process itself? So this is not specific to XR Games. This is what I've seen across recruitment. So you'll go through a number of different stages probably when you apply for a job. So you'll prepare your material. So this will be making your CV, making your portfolio, getting all that ready. You'll then go out and you'll find jobs. So you might find them on job boards, websites, LinkedIn, social media, wherever. You'll then apply for those jobs and you'll go through whatever application process each studio has. Chances are you probably won't hear back for most of them. You almost certainly won't get feedback at that stage, just to manage your expectations. Applying for a job, getting rejected without actually doing any interviews or any talks, you're probably not going to get feedback. Once again, hundreds of people for one job, hundreds. Not everyone can get feedback at that initial stage. You might get invited to an interview. There could be multiple stages. There could be a test or a task. Depends on the studio. And then you'll get to an offer. And that all seems straightforward, okay? Easy, right? Just follow those steps. 1, 2, 3, boom, got a job. Now, the problem is that sometimes you'll get all the way through and you'll apply for jobs and you won't get anything. You won't hear back from any of them, and you go, oh, I'll have to go and find some more jobs to apply for because I didn't get anywhere. Sometimes you'll apply for jobs and you won't get shortlisted for interview anywhere, and actually you'll then think that, or maybe there's something clearly not working, so I need to go back and prepare my materials. I need to make some improvements to my CV or to my portfolio. You could get all the way to an interview, right? And you could get all the way to an interview and you do stuff and then you don't get the job. Not everyone gets a job. So you might have to go back and apply again. It could be that you get all the way to an interview and actually the feedback says that the reason why we're not hiring you is because of this. And so you might then have to go all the way back to the beginning and go, well, I need to work on something skills-wise. I need to develop this. I need to improve this. I need to show more of this. What I'm getting to is that this seems really straightforward and linear initially, and actually the reality will be vastly different. It is going to be messy, and it is going to keep you to be organized and keep on top of, to understand where you're at with different things, and taking feedback and taking learning on board throughout the whole time. Remember, it probably won't happen straight away. It won't be straightforward down the line and get a job. And so what are the different things that you need to get a job? There's a number of different documents, tools, different things, right, that you need. So you need a portfolio, as we talked about. The portfolio is the thing that gets you the interview, right? Portfolio on its own doesn't get you a job. Having a great portfolio does not get you a job. It might get you an interview, but it won't get you a job. Having a successful task or a test, if a studio does it, what this will do is demonstrate your skills. So demonstrate your coding ability, your artist ability, whatever the task is, right? Once again, on its own, will not get you a job, but it will demonstrate that you've got the skills to do a job. You'll have a CV, and on that CV, you'll be able to list experience and education, and your experience of making games, right? What this does is it provides the bulk of conversation when you get to an interview. So when you get to an interview, most of the time it's going to be, oh, tell me about this project. What did you do? What challenges did you have? How did you overcome it? This is what provides the bulk of that conversation. You also, on your CV, might have a load of personal details about you. So it could be your hobbies, your interests. It could be what you want to do as a job, what your intended career path is. What this does is makes you a real person, gives you a personality, doesn't make you a game development robot. We don't hire robots, not yet. AI hasn't risen up yet, but we hire people. So this makes you a real person. And then having good comms, good interviewing skills. What this does is it shows that you can fit in with the team. Shows that you're going to be a nice person, shows you're going to be able to talk to people, you're going to be able to work with other people. Game development is a team sport, right? You don't do it entirely on your own when you work in a studio, you work with other people. And as I'm hoping you get to, that individually, every single one of these will not get you a job. You could have the best portfolio, but if the other stuff is lacking, you won't get a job. You could be amazing at interviews, but if the other stuff is lacking, you won't ever get to that interview, right? It's a combination of every single thing. And the point I want to get across is don't feel that one of them is more important than the other, right? A lot of people do that, and people go, the big one that people leave off is the stuff about them. They go, that's not important. Why do they need to know that? And people miss it off because they feel it's irrelevant. It is super relevant. It will help the interview to go well. It will give you something to talk about. I guarantee every single interview you do, the interviewer will 5-10 minutes before you come in or jump on the Zoom call or whatever else, what they're doing is looking at your CV, right? And they're refreshing themselves on your CV. Who's this person I'm going to meet? What do they do? And that will be where they'll go, oh, I see he plays guitar. Cool. And that will form the small talk. They'll go, oh, yeah, I see that you play guitar. Yeah, I do too. Or I support this football team, or whatever, right? Whatever it is. But that makes you a real person. That shows that you could be a fit within the team. And that's important. And so from my point of view, what I want to show you is this kind of funnel, right, of how we go from job application to offering someone the job, right? And there's some key questions that myself and the other recruiters are asking of applicants when they come through, right? So right at the beginning, we've got applicants, and there genuinely could be hundreds of them, right? As I've said, we last summer, we need to hire some junior game designers. We needed to hire 4, I think. And we had a job ad out. We had it running for 6 weeks. We had just over 1,800 applications. That's not uncommon. And we're only a smallish studio, right? We're not huge. Other studios will have a lot more than that. From that point, what we'll be doing is we'll be filtering to a long list, and then we'll be, oh, that's not good. We'll be filtering to a short list. From here, at this point, this is where a test might be involved. It might not. It might do. Depends on the role. Depends on the studio. We'll then filter that. We'll take that short list and we'll do some interviews with them, and then we'll offer someone the job, right? And there's some key things. So at the beginning, when people are applying and I'm filtering to that long list, what I'm asking is, who out of this list of people is relevant? Does anyone here know what the job title is as somebody who works at Subway? Sandwich artist. Do you know how many sandwich artists apply for a game artist role? Lots. So it's taking all those people who are totally irrelevant, who have not got a portfolio at all, or have a portfolio with nothing to do with game development on it. All those people, they are filtered out at that stage. You have not shown me anything to show that you're relevant for this job. Once we get past that, what I'm then looking to do is who can technically do the job, right? So this will be filtering at shortlist, filtering to interview. So of all these people who are relevant, who technically can do the job? That's where the task or the test might be. So that by the time we get to interview, I know that on paper, technically, you know how to use the right tools, you know how to use the right software, you know what the job is, right? You understand, and technically, I could give you the job and you could do it right now, okay? The problem is that for junior roles, by the time you get to interview, you are probably one of 5, 6, 7, maybe a few more, who all technically can do the job. So what's the final question we're asking? Who's the best fit? So if there is 5, 6, 7 people at interview, we can only hire one of them. We only have one spot on the team. All of you technically can do the job, and you've all got pretty similar experience with junior roles, right? So what we're then looking at is who's going to be the best person to fit in our team. And that's where becoming a real person, being able to communicate, all of this kind of stuff really comes into play, and it's how you turn that interview into you're the person that we want to hire at the end of it. So finally, what I want to do is introduce you to XR Futures, and I alluded to it right at the beginning. So XR Futures is something that we launched last year. It is our very own talent initiative, and it's designed to help people to get their first job in the games industry. It's why I'm here today. The website, it's an ongoing resource that provides loads of advice, guidance, real-life stories from people within XR Games, which is intended to help you get your job at us or at somewhere else. It's people telling their stories of, I was where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, and here's how I got my job, and here's what I do now, right? And here's the advice I'd give. It's also where we will showcase all of our opportunities that are at entry level. Apprenticeships, internships, graduate, junior roles within XR Games. Talking of internships, ours are open right now. So ours actually opened, not last week, week before. We are currently hiring interns across programming, art, and design. These are paid internships for 12 months. They're year-long internships. We will pay you a decent salary, and you will come work for us for a year, starting from next summer. When you're here, what you'll do is you will work on real projects. So you're not just there to make tea and coffee and make up the numbers. Our interns that we hired, who started in June this year, they are working on projects which are in development now, which are actually set for release early next year. So they're going to have, during their internship, they're going to actually have a ship title to their name. They're going to work on a game which is going to be shipped, which is an amazing experience for them. So you're going to work on real stuff with the team. Some key dates. So applications close on December the 8th. They're open now, so there's tons of time. Applications close on December the 8th. From there, we'll then be doing that long listing, shortlisting. We'll then be taking a long list, and we'll be sending out a task. So there'll be a different task for each one. There'll be an art test, a programming test, a design test, and you'll have all of Christmas and all of January, basically, to do that and send it to us. From there, we'll be shortlisting again. We'll be inviting people to interview in kind of February, March time, and then the idea is you'll then start the role in the summer next year. If you want to apply, you can use that QR code. Feel free to scan that, or if not, just go to XR Games and you'll find it all there, easy enough. But applications are open right now. You can apply right now. All the application details of what we're expecting to see in roles, in portfolios and stuff is all found on there. So look, just to tie this up in terms of summary, be prepared for it to be hard. It's going to be hard, right? Make no bones about it. But also be aware that it does happen, right? It might seem like it doesn't, but there are new people who get new jobs in the games industry every single year, all year round. It does happen. You only ever really hear about the success stories, the people who graduate, get their job straight away, right? You don't hear about the people who had to finish uni, finish college, and then spend another 2 years, 3 years, sometimes longer, improving themselves, still working on their portfolio before they apply and get a job. That is the more common route in. The very best preparation for making video games as a job is to just make games, right? Regardless of what job you want to do, get involved in making video games. And ultimately, you should treat your career in games as a journey, and it's one that you've already started by being here, by being interested, by listening to this. You have already started that, and have your goal in mind, and this could be the first step for you. And that's me. Thank you. There we go.
Right then, thank you so much for that, Andy. Fascinating stuff. I see a sneaky hand up already, so I think I know where to go. Do we do some questions?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
The chap with his hand up.
Hi, Andy. Thank you very much. If you have people who are below the legal working
Can't hear you, sorry.
If you have people below the legal working age, do you guys do any sort of work experience or tours or visits, or is it NDA specific?
Yeah, NDAs make that super difficult in games. You know, we don't at the moment. I know it's something that we're looking into for future, but I don't want to make any promises that it definitely happen. Yeah, you'll find that is that NDAs and stuff makes that super hard to do. And then there's loads of legal stuff surrounding all of that. Doesn't mean it won't happen. And I know there's some studios that certainly do that kind of thing. Bigger studios will have more resources to be able to do that kind of stuff. So it may be in the future, but not right now, unfortunately.
Thank you so much.
Nice one. I've always, like, the game jams are a really great opportunity, right?
100%.
Before you've hit that being a bloody adult business.
100%.
Hello there, thank you. So I've actually got the opposite question to the gentleman ahead. I've already got a career, and I'm actually switching to video game development, or hoping to. And I want to ask about the futures. Is it just student only?
No.
Is it open to?
We don't care what your education is.
Great, okay.
Whether you graduated yesterday, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whether you've been to uni at all, it does not matter what grade you got, what degree you studied, does not matter. It's an entry-level job, and as long as you've got a portfolio showing off, you know, that you can do what you're applying to do, that's all that matters.
And can I just ask another sneaky question while I got your attention? I don't actually have so my portfolio is actually modding based. I've made a lot of mods for some popular games. And how could someone with that portfolio sort of show it off? This whole portfolio thing is new to me. Like, my current career is very technical based.
So modding can be good. It can be good added value stuff, but that shouldn't be the main part of it, right? Presumably you want to be programming, coding, right? Is that
game development, principally level design or maybe systems design.
Okay. So what's stopping you joining a game jam or making your own stuff? Just go and do it. There's no barriers. There is a ton of information out there. Just go and do it. Just have a go. Not everything that you do on a game jam or on a personal project will make it onto your portfolio, right? Probably the first times you do it, it will probably end up a bit rubbish and it won't be good enough to show. And that's fine, but it's all learned experience, right? And you'll get better and better at it the more you do it. So just go and create your own stuff.
Thank you.
Really love that question as well, because it's really important, right? Like, it's amazing seeing, like, future generations of young people coming into games, but a lot of people pivot late. There's a great talk at the Develop conference a couple of years ago about starting in game dev at 48. So it's really possible, and pivoting in from other places happens. One more at least?
Yeah, I'm happy for whatever.
I'll do this.
Hi. If you're looking into like your company or any other company and you don't see any other junior roles, but you see like a basic in the middle kind of role, like animator or stuff like that, can you apply for it even though the job description says that it requires like 3 or 5 years, even though you don't have the experience?
You can apply, but I'd manage your expectations. With all of this, the answer is it depends, right? It depends on the studio, depends on the team. If it's a huge studio, right, and they've got hundreds and hundreds of people, right, they've probably, if someone who's really talented, who's a bit more junior than what they're looking for, they could probably find a home for that person if they really like them, right? They can probably make a position, find a position, okay? For somewhere like us, our roles are a bit more limited. If we say we're hiring a mid-level programmer or artist or whatever else, and we need someone with a couple of years' experience, the reason why we're saying that is because we have an immediate need on a project for someone with that, and we don't have time to train them up. We need somebody who can just come in and get on with it straight away, and that's why we're looking for it. And no matter how talented someone junior is, you know, they're going to need a lot more investment in terms of their development and their help. And so it depends. For us, you know, you could apply, but manage your expectations. You probably won't get it. But for other studios, you might be more successful. read into the job description and see what do they actually need. If they're saying something about, you know, we need you to know how to do this stuff, we need to have experience of doing this already, we need you to be mentoring, managing other people, helping other people, as a junior, that's probably not going to work because you probably haven't done that yet, just for the fact of being a junior.
Thank you.
It's going to take us a minute over, but as I promised this person a question, we'll just keep it a quick one, but we'll sneak it in.
Sorry, thank you. Hello, Andy. What advice would you give to anyone who's searching for game design document job roles for junior apprenticeships?
Apprenticeships are a funny thing because apprenticeships are, you can't just do an apprenticeship just because you decide you want to do one. They're a government legal thing, right? And as far as I'm aware, a game design or level design apprenticeship doesn't exist. There isn't a standard for it, right? There is other apprenticeships, you know, there's a new level 7 programming one of which we hired an apprentice for, but you can't just do an apprenticeship because you decide you want to do one. But really, yeah, you know, if you looking for junior roles, there's a ton of places to find those kind of roles. You know, job sites, website, you know, LinkedIn, social, all that other stuff.